Hello, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight. Monday Night Raw started off pretty good for once, but then it very quickly divulged into its usually sucky self, and we're going to talk about all of that and so much more right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare, and you are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's Monday Night Raw review. Let's do it.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
You know, as bad as the show was tonight, after we got through that first segment, which was actually decent, I was grateful for Monday Night Raw tonight. I was grateful for it for one really specific reason. And that's because for 3 hours, it allowed me to detach myself from the craziness that is going on all over the world. My city is going through it right now, as are many of yours, I'm sure, as well. And unless you got your head buried under a rock, you are not aware of what's going on in the world, especially here in the States nowadays. And it is absolutely bonkers. So I was glad that Monday Night Raw was able to distract me or focus my attention somewhere else, if just for a few moments. And before we even proceed with the Monday Night Raw review, all I want to say about the George Floyd issue is that yes, this has gone on far too long. Everybody's frustrated. Everybody's angry. And you want this to stop just as much as I do. All lives matter, everybody wants to say, but that's not true. It's not true, and they prove it time and time again. All lives do not matter until Black Lives Matter as well. And if that upsets you in any way that I just said that, then you could take a hike, because you're part of the problem and you're not being part of the solution. But to all of those that are out there protesting, and to all of you that feel the need to get out there and do the right thing and help this cause, raise your voices, not your weapons. Speak with your heart. Don't speak with hate. And even when they push back against you, in certain times even with force, you fight back to the best of your ability. Try not to succumb to the violence. And to all of you clowns that are using this as an excuse to loot and destroy businesses and whatsoever without it actually being part of your protest, you need to just stay your asses home, because you're giving the protest and you're giving the movement a bad look, and you are causing other things to happen that shouldn't be happening. And that's as far as we are going to go with it. My main thing for you guys to take away from this whole thing is what I mostly said. Raise your hearts. Don't raise your hands. Hopefully, this is all over soon. But stay safe and stay smart and stay ahead of everybody else. I wish the same could be said, as this is probably not a good segue for the people that write Monday Night Raw, because while they are probably safe, they do not stay smart at all. And the WWE didn't even have the balls to address the issue at hand, or at least comment on it. And why are you surprised by that? They weren't commenting on the pandemic, so why would they comment on all of this now? Well, we need to be your escape. And as they did prove to be my escape tonight, I didn't appreciate the fact that they're just pretty much ignoring all of these things that are going on. And a platform like the WWE is a very powerful one, and starting Monday Night Raw with some sort of a statement or even just a written thing showing their support or asking people to calm down, whatever it is they could have done, just acknowledge what's going on. You're an influencer, right? You have a big voice. You reach a lot of people. You should use your power and your platform for good right now and be on the right side of things. But WWE doesn't do that. They're completely not going to talk about the issue, and they are going to present to us this Monday Night Raw, which we will now review for all of you. Hopefully you guys didn't turn away, because I would hate to think that I would have people unsubscribe from this channel, because that would mean I would have had subpar people as members of my Sledgehead army, which is not what we want. We want everybody to love each other here, so we can all hate the WWE, and we could all hate Monday Night Raw together. I don't give a shit what you look like, as long as you hit the like button, you hit subscribe, and you're a part of the right side of the equation. I love everybody, man. I love you all. I love each and every one of you, and I wish everybody felt the same exact way. And I hope you feel the same way about me, too. You know who doesn't love Seth Rollins? Of course, is Rey Mysterio. We had Seth Rollins have his little Rey Mysterio's going to retire ceremony, which wasn't really all that much of a ceremony. It was more of a speech by Seth Rollins, and it was kind of intriguing. I liked what he was saying, and as much as I like to give the Monday Night Man Bun a lot of crap, especially giving him the poop hammer on several occasions, it's not necessary tonight, because in fact this story with Rey Mysterio that they have crafted, I don't know if it was always the plan, but it's going in a positive direction. I actually liked the addition of Austin Theory to his minions. It looks better than it did with the Authors of Piss, if you ask me. I don't know. And maybe when they return, Seth Rollins will have a group of 4 behind him. Maybe not. I'm content with Murphy, and I'm content with Austin Theory as his duo. It was fine. I think everything was fine. I liked the fact that they started this show off with the match of Alistair Black and Seth Rollins. And what I didn't expect was them to give Alistair Black a clean win here. In fact, at one point, Humberto Dr. Dimples Carrillo came out to try to even the odds and be on Alistair Black's side as he was going up against Seth Rollins here, as he had his buddies on the outside, as always. And I thought that they were going to Teddy Long this match and turn it into some sort of a tag team, but thankfully that was not the case, and we got like a nearly 20-minute matchup between Alistair Black and Seth Rollins, which was very, very good. My only complaint really being about this match was there was way too many commercials, and as many times as I was actually finding myself starting to get into this matchup, they would go to a commercial break, and it would just break me. It would break me, it would break my concentration, it would break my investment into the match, and it's terrible that they would go to commercial, I think like 3 times in that one match, if I'm not mistaken, but it definitely didn't help their cause. They finally give us something good, and at the same time they don't allow us to see about 50% of it, and that's at least if it was live. If it was taped and that was the whole match, then fine, but still, going to commercial so many times definitely takes you out of the match. But I was okay with this. I was happy that they gave Alistair the win. They got Alistair over in this scenario as a serious threat for main eventers, and they also got Seth and his buddies over as a dominating heel faction, because after the match, Seth and his clowns would attack Alistair Black and then force him to watch as Seth Rollins executes a curb stomp across the face of Dr. Dimples, definitely altering the position of his dimples going forward. We'll probably see that next week as he comes back to Raw. The one thing I thought was kind of funny and I didn't appreciate was the fact that they kept referring to Rey Mysterio as being a mentor to Alistair Black. I don't know how that ever happened. I don't believe that to be true whatsoever. A mentor to Humberto Carrillo, we've kind of seen that. That would make sense for them to say those type of things, but was he just friends with Alistair Black, Rey Mysterio, or did they have a mentor relationship? I certainly don't know that to be the case, but I found it amusing that they kept stressing, oh, Alistair Black trying to get revenge for his friend and mentor. When the hell was he mentored by Rey Mysterio? I don't know, but that's a little bit nitpicky of me. I'm appreciative of the match, despite the commercial breaks taking us all out of it 100 times, and the post-match attack was just fine. And then the show just from here started to tank terribly. this match was very, very good. I hope that they do it again. I hope that they don't 50-50 booking it and just give it back to Seth Rollins next week. But I want to see this continue to evolve into something really special. They have the capabilities to make that happen, and bringing Rey Mysterio in as the focal point is very interesting because it lets him serve his role as a veteran. He's going to end up getting some sort of a revenge match. And now that they've brought the giant baby son man Dominic back into the equation to help his tiny dad, it's going to be even more interesting. I'm not sure where they're going to go with it. There's definitely the possibility that Dominic could end up turning on his dad and becoming one of the followers of Seth Rollins, which would be mind-blowing. It would probably just come so out of left field that you wouldn't even expect it. I don't expect it to really happen. I don't know that they would do that, but that remains to be seen. The possibility is still there, and I think there's a lot that they could play with here. And I think a lot of it would make sense from here on out. And I'm open to a lot of what's going on in these areas right here in the beginning. But then we go to Apollo Crews, who just is coming off winning the United States Championship last week. And he's going to challenge somebody tonight. He's going to pick somebody. He's going to have an opponent of his choosing. Now, this is kind of unprecedented. I don't remember this happening. It's kind of like a reverse open challenge. Instead of not knowing who's going to show up, you're going to pick who's going to come out. And now, I'm not going to complain about the fact that he picked Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens has been in the United States title picture somewhat since he's come back. He deserved to be put up into the world title picture, but that's another story for another show. So it kind of made sense. He helped out Apollo Crews. He feels that Kevin Owens is deserving. He feels that he's worthy of a championship, and I didn't mind him picking it, but it just doesn't seem like the way things happen. You know, the champion just doesn't come out and start handing out title matches to everybody. Even the babyface champions don't do that. It didn't really make all that much sense for him to want to do this, but I give him respect for picking a decent opponent, for not being a heel about it and picking some jobber from nowhere. But on that note, Apollo Crews playing the good guy still just kind of comes off awkward and not genuine. And it's almost like he wants to be a heel, but he's just stuck being a babyface. I don't know. I feel like Apollo Crews on the heel side of things would be infinitely more interesting and have a lot more charisma than happy, smiley, hey, I'm so happy to be the champion, Apollo, and I'm going to challenge some good guy right now. And then he gives you, like, little times where he has, like, that essence of swag, where he might turn, like, even still, tonight. He kind of gave it to Kevin Owens a little bit when Kevin Owens came out and said, listen, you don't want me to do this. You're going to end up having one of the shortest championship reigns ever. He's in the middle of a feud with Angel Garza, but Crews said that Owens really deserves a shot, especially after what happened to him last week. And then Owens said that Garza can wait, and now he felt bad because it's going to be the shortest first reign of Apollo Crews' career. They went on for about 10 minutes until they ruined this match. And even though it wouldn't have made sense to have either man lose, there had to be some kind of a smudge finish to this matchup. I assumed it was going to just be Angel Garza costing Kevin Owens the win here. But instead, the WWE one-ups it and turns it into something we didn't need it to be. And as what I assumed they were going to do in the opening segment, and I was glad they didn't, they disappointed me by doing it here with this segment, and they Teddy Longed this one and turned it into a tag match by taking the two people that were fighting over a championship and putting them on the same team now, even though they were just in the ring trying to kill each other for 10 minutes, against their two rivals, Andrade and Angel Garza, with the sexy Zelina Vega on the outside. And it was fine, I guess. Apollo Crews and Kevin Owens get the win, which was to be expected. The one thing that I think is terrible, and they took a moment to even acknowledge this when the match was over, was Apollo Crews got the pin on Andrade to win this matchup, and this was now the third time in as many meetings between the two men, whether it be in tag team or singles competition, that Apollo Crews has beaten Andrade and pinned his shoulders to the mat, which begs the question, why go any further with it? Just transport it to Garza so that he could give it to Owens, and down the road we can go. Or you just give it to Angel Garza, have Angel Garza go over on Kevin Owens, and then send Kevin Owens into the main event picture, which is what the WWE likes to do anyway. They give guys that lose the bigger title opportunities, so might as well put Kevin Owens on the better trajectory line so he can make his way to Drew McIntyre instead. But that was that. And then we get the weekly Asuka interview where she's going to talk gibberish for most of it, and then put in like a cool line or two and tell Charlotte Flair that she's always getting better, but Charlotte always stays the same, and the Empress never bows to anyone. And it got really intense and cool for a moment, but then she starts hiya, hooga baga, with all her little nonsense and her movements and her stupidness, and it's like, why couldn't they just let her have said that one line and walk away? Why does they still just have to make Asuka come off like a clown? She's not in face paint and all that stuff because she wants to be a clown. She's supposed to be intimidating and scary, but instead she's being goofy and likable, I guess. If you like this, I don't like this version of Asuka. But I guess it's better than watching her being beaten down by Nia Jax, which is what will happen to Kairi Sane later this evening. The Street Profits and the Viking Raider Warrior Raider Raiders went bowling this week, and I didn't watch it. It was not necessary. I had better things to do with my time, so I turned my attention elsewhere. I checked in on Twitter and then immediately checked out because it is absolutely toxic there right now, and I'm only using it to promote the show, and I'm trying to stay off as much as possible. I checked in on my wife and daughter, made sure everybody was okay, as it was time for Betty by night time for the little one, and then I came back and the bowling segment was still going, and I was like, oh my God, I don't want to watch this. And then I had to watch the Viking Raider Warrior pull a turkey leg out of the bowling thing where the ball comes out, and I'm just, what? You know, I watch these segments and I feel like somebody in that WWE creative room was hired from TV, and they think that they're funny, and they always wanted to do comedy, and the WWE's like, yeah, all right, you can do comedy, and they're taking all these early attempts at comedy, and it's just completely falling flat, because it is not funny. It is not funny. Maybe if you're 6 years old, this is funny, but watching four grown men act like idiots while trying to play a game of bowling, while also trying to take themselves seriously and trying to make this I can do whatever you can do better than you can do thing, make it a serious competition and give meaning to it. You're turning every single segment into a joke. We're seeing the same jokes week after week. Oh, this Viking's cute. This one, not so much. Ha 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 ha. So funny. When are we going to pull the turkey leg out of next week? Somebody's ass? In the middle of the decathlon they're going to have? Oh, by the way, they announced there's going to be a decathlon next week between these two guys. Not a tag team match. No. But another one of these stupid segments is going to be a decathlon. Where's the turkey leg going to be? Who's going to call the Vikings cute next week? Who cares? What are the Street Profits going to want? The smoke! And that's the end of it. Who needs it? Who needs it? Once again, instead of watching the Street Profits defend their championships, establish a title reign, make the tag team division seem like something, anything at all, while simultaneously have the Viking Raiders fighting their way back to that championship, maybe earning their way in a tournament of some sort between the only 4 teams you have on Monday Night Raw, so that they could at least say that, well, we've beat everybody here, it's time for us to get our championships back. No, we don't try to build anything. We're just gonna make jokes. We're gonna have entertaining segments. We're going to film stuff. We're going to try to be funny. Harold Ramis, you guys ain't. Older heads know who that is. I don't know any of the new comedians because all the new comedies ain't funny. And this is probably why. This is some young millennial writer who's watching all this other shit that's not funny. And, oh, this is funny. This is what the kids think is funny. Giant turkey legs. What? Out of here with this. We already spent way too much time on it. Anyway, the Viking Raider Warrior Raiders won this bowling thing 131 to 130. Now, a perfect game in bowling is 300. My daughter was 7 years old when we went bowling last year. She's 8 years old now. But when I last took her bowling, she was 7 years old. And she scored higher than both of these teams combined. These are athletes. These are competitors. These are people we're supposed to take seriously. They can't even score more than 100 in a game of bowling between two people? Get out of here. You know what else can get out of here? The women's matches, for the most part on this night, were completely wastes of time. Every single one of them had no reason to truly exist. Billie Kay with Peyton Royce versus Nikki Cross with Alexa Bliss. The same Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss that are fighting Sasha and Bayley this Friday on SmackDown. Why are they on Monday Night Raw fighting the Iconics? Are we going any further with this? Are you trying to tell us that they're not going to drop the titles on Friday and that Sasha and Bayley aren't going to win? Why not just give it away? Why do they have two storylines happening simultaneously on two different shows? This has never happened before for anybody holding the women's tag team titles. All of a sudden, they got to be on every show. This was unnecessary. The wrestling was non-existent in this match. I'm sorry if that bothers some of you. I know I have some fans that absolutely love the Iconics, and that's fine, because like we always say here, you're allowed to love who you want to love. But if you watch that match and you tell me it was a Matt Classic, I'm going to have to tell you you're absolutely out of your mind. This was barely a match at best. This was just a waste of time on a storyline that doesn't need to exist. The Iconics have come back. They have thrown them immediately in a championship scenario instead of, much like as I said with the men's tag team division, having them come back and beat whoever the hell else is in the tag team division to establish themselves as a viable threat. It doesn't matter that they never lost their titles or they haven't had it since whatever. I don't care. I don't care. You can whine and cry about it all you want. Whine and cry about it, but as you're doing that, beat people's asses and get some wins, showing the world that these girls mean business. And if I were the WWE, all you really have to do to get the Iconics over is have them speak less. The less we hear them and the more that they wrestle and show that they can actually wrestle, the better off they'll be. Silence is golden sometimes. And it will be so golden if the Iconics employ that. And I don't appreciate how they talked about Nikki Cross here. They kept talking about her as the oddball and the goofball and the standout, and she was picked on and the this and that. Like, listen, this girl went toe-to-toe with Asuka for the NXT Women's Championship in a street fight and almost killed herself about 6 times. You think she gives a shit about any of this nonsense you're trying to sell me? Girl is tough as nails. She's an absolute whack job. And I loved that Nikki Cross. This Nikki Cross, not so much. So after this women's match that didn't need to exist, we seen Drew McIntyre backstage with Charlie Caruso. He says he does not back down from any challenge. He's on week number 9 as the champion. He has defeated 7 challengers so far. Pretty impressive for a 9-week run. He was happy to be able to make MVP number 8 later on this night and was ready for Bobby Lashley. Also, he then said he will take anybody that comes at him, from the fans to anyone at all. Want to come at me for my championship? They're going to have a one-way ticket to Claymore Country. Good stuff from Drew McIntyre as always. The one thing that I need to stress is that if you would have asked me a month ago, a year ago, 5 years ago, even 10 years ago, that do you think in the year 2020 you're going to see Drew McIntyre main event a Monday Night Raw as the heavyweight champion and be defending it against MVP? I would have laughed in your face. And while on this show we have said multiple times, I am a very big supporter of MVP in the managerial role. I think it will go miles for Bobby Lashley's character. Him in the ring was not what I was asking for. It seems a little bit unnecessary and just WWE doing whatever they can to stall instead of building story. And when you want to focus the story of the WWE Championship around a piece that has nothing to do really with anything, then you're doing the wrong thing. And if you don't understand what I mean by that, it's because the main storyline for Bobby Lashley and MVP tonight was really about Lana. Right? Lana was finally getting in MVP's face. She smacked him across the mouth because she's trying to get her husband back. Both of them trying to accuse each other of being the ones to use Bobby Lashley to further their own career. Interesting points were made by both parties, but I didn't care because why? Because Lana was the one speaking. And MVP shut her down as always, and he got slapped in the mouth for it. Great. But then we had to talk to Lana again. And Lana's like, oh, well, Bobby doesn't want me out there for his matches, but he didn't say I can't go out there for MVP's matches. So now they're building up. All right, well, Lana's going to make her way out and be part of this matchup at the end of the night. And she goes out before the match even begins and then does nothing. She did nothing. So what was the point of building anticipation for Lana to come out? She didn't cost MVP the match. She didn't help MVP upset Drew McIntyre in any way. She did not lean to the story, or lend to the story rather, at all. She was just there. Why? It's unnecessary. And even if you're playing long game here, there was nothing that happened here. She wasn't a catalyst for anything. She didn't cause anything to happen. All she did was come out. It didn't help MVP. It didn't hurt MVP. So what was the point? She smacked the guy in the mouth 2 hours prior to this matchup. So the payoff here was what? Lana made her way out to the match, and I'm still waiting for her to do something. We'll talk more about that match in a second. We kind of jumped ahead thanks to Drew McIntyre's interview. But we also had an interview from Rey Mysterio, which also included his gigantic man-son, Dominic. And the way this interview went off, Rey Mysterio is very good. He's very passionate, and he admitted to Samoa Joe that, an eye injury is very, very difficult. Joe knows what he's talking about firsthand. On the one hand, you could be cleared to wrestle at any minute, and then if you happen to get an infection in your eye, your career can be over in an instant. He made some really valid points, and it was really well done, I thought, and it was well delivered. But then Dominic came into the screen, and Dominic's all pissed off, and Ray's trying to keep him all tranquilo, be cool, son. And he's like, no, man, I ain't gonna be cool, tiny dad. This is some BS what that man bun did to you. And Ray's like, I know, but chill, man, just chill. And he's like, no, tiny dad, I'm not gonna chill, man. And it was interesting, and Dominic looked intense, and when Rey was defending his family, he said that Seth Rollins has taken this too far. He wasn't going to be a sacrifice for Seth Rollins. He wants to be a prophet. He wants to be a holy man, but he's doing all this terrible shit. Obviously, that's not what Rey said. We're paraphrasing. He said Seth Rollins tried to end his career. Dominic said somebody from the family should deal with Seth Rollins, tiny dad. Mysterio kept trying to calm him down, but it's not going to happen. This is BS, he said. Mysterio then thanked everybody for their support, that it meant a lot to him and to his family. And Mysterio said he will never forgive Seth Rollins. He said, I'm a very forgiving man, but I will never forgive Seth Rollins for this. Damn you, Seth Rollins. Damn you. Rey Mysterio then was like, let's go. Come on, vamonos. We're going to beat it. And Dominic stayed in his seat. He looked dead into the camera and he said, Rollins, you're a man of scripture. I got one for you, an eye for an eye. So Dominic is either playing the game and he's going to turn on Tiny Dad, or he's gunning to take out one of the man bun's ocular regions to make up for what happened to his father. Pretty interesting. I thought it was good. I thought the execution by Dominic needs a little work, but he's a rookie. He's a rookie. He's a young kid. He hasn't had much experience. He still has miles to go. But as I watch him, there's something there. He's just got to get past that delivery phase and just become a little bit more natural. A little bit more like Tiny Dad. And he'll get there. He'll get there. You know who's not going to get there? Nia Jax. Nia Jax came out, and of course they got to give everybody a promo, which just made this show drag on. Instead of having her just come out and have her match and go away, she's got to come out and talk. And you know what she's saying is uber scripted and just a bunch of garbage when she ends everything she said by calling Asuka a backstabbing charlatan. A charlatan. What is this, 1900s? The early 1900s? What is this, 1886? She's a charlatan. I half expected her to raise up a couple of tiny ocular glasses, you know, the ones that they hold on a thing and they bring it up to their face, you know, back in those days to look all fancy and be like, oh, you're a charlatan. Charlatan? Who talks like this? Nobody. And then they gotta make things worse because we had a Gronkowski sighting for the week. Oh my God, but the only good thing about this Rob Gronkowski sighting is this might be the last time we see him for quite some time. Rob Gronkowski lost the, hey, look at me, I'm a clown 24/7, I don't give a crap, green-colored avocado golden-plated championship belt back to R-Truth. It went back to the man it belongs around the waist of. And now Rob Gronk can go Gronk himself in Tampa Bay and do whatever it is that a Gronk does when he goes to play ball with Tom Brady whenever the NFL decides to get its season back on board, when everything's finally clear for all of us to go back out and play again. And I'm thankful for that. And the sad thing is, we're going to be saying goodbye to the Gronk song for now. That's it. Hopefully the last time we're going to have to pull that out. I know some of you guys love this bit, but, you know, if the Gronk's not around, the song's not needed, and hopefully he stays in Tampa Bay. I don't care if he and Tom Brady win for the next 5 years. Just keep him away from the WWE. And rest in peace to the Gronk dance. Hopefully never to be seen again. Hopefully. And then after that, I had to go through that, I had to watch this heavily edited garbage matchup between Nia Jax and Kairi Sane. And on Friday, I happened to say that according to reports that were filing out of the Performance Center, it was said that this accident that happened to Kairi Sane was not Nia Jax's fault, and that it was, in fact, a miscue by Kairi Sane. And though this match was heavily edited, I definitely didn't see that here. And if it's the spot that they're claiming it is, where Nia threw Kairi Sane into the steps, then it is 100% her fault. And while I'm not about here to start spewing hate on Nia Jax or anything like that, this is a place we've been to many times before. Nia Jax notorious for her uncaring performances and the way she doesn't know how to control her own strength and to really use her body as a professional wrestler, and maybe she's just not at that level. Some people just aren't there. And Nia Jax, though she is strong, though she's a beautiful big female, she's just not wrestling ready. Which is why these accidents keep happening, even when she's in there with consummate professionals that can do the job with literally anybody. But you get in there with Nia Jax, and 9 out of 10 times you're going to come out of there with something hurting. May not be career-threatening or something serious. Kairi Sane went on with the match. But what good did it do? What good did it do anybody? We've seen Nia Jax beat Kairi Sane like 6 times now, right? They're really giving her the red carpet on the way out the door. Oh, and they're definitely not giving her any reason to try to reconsider signing. Kairi Sane can't get out of the WWE fast enough. But they did the best they could to try to show you guys nothing happened. And you didn't really see it. And you didn't really see the aftermath of it. But then Asuka ran down to confront Nia Jax. But of course, she left like the heel coward is supposed to. We then had Randy Orton with his retort to Edge's promo last week, and these are always great. Randy Orton on the mic is fantastic. Randy Orton in the ring being capable of delivering the greatest match ever. I don't think that's going to happen. But, we all don't think that. We'll see. We'll see. But this promo was pretty good by Randy. He said that Edge accused him of being complacent and had become comfortable. He went back and caught up on all the WWE Network shows, talking about Ride Along and talking about watching The Undertaker's documentary and how Edge really, everything that Edge said last week kind of got to him. And Edge couldn't handle that he half-assed it for 20 years and still accomplished more than everybody that Edge knows. Randy didn't have to work as hard. Randy didn't have to perform as hard. So Edge now resents that. Edge had to scratch and claw and pretend to be like everybody else. Bow down to his masters in the WWE corporate. And all Orton had to do was be Randy Orton. He said he will prove he's better than Edge at Backlash. And that Edge's storybook ending is going to end with the most destructive letters in sports entertainment, RKO. Good, simple, effective, great back and forth. Is the match going to deliver? No. Absolutely not. Just like Charlotte Flair doesn't deliver every time we are forced to watch this woman. Here she is with her weekly I'm going to ruin everything appearance that I'm supposed to be on NXT, but I'm going to be on everything. We had a nice little break from Charlotte this past Friday, but here she is again, front and center in a title versus title match that is actually a non-title match. They kept saying it's champion versus champion, but it's non-title. So champion versus champion really doesn't matter. Charlotte also had to be given promo time to say absolutely nothing. She's going to be defending the championship that she holds in a triple threat against Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai. So they have to give her time to hype this up. And for just the mere fact that I forgot who the opponents were shows you how good of a job she did. She's definitely not memorable. Her deliveries are always very dry and boring, and I just find it hard to listen to Charlotte Flair as her acting just does not draw me in, as it does probably the same for most of you. All of this leading to this match with Asuka, which is another match much like Apollo Crews and Kevin Owens. You can't have anybody win this match. You can't have either of the women lose this match. So the ending here is obvious. Nia Jax is going to come out and do something, right? Of course it is. So in the middle of this match, Asuka's music hits. And Nia Jax comes out wearing Asuka's mask. She had her face painted and the Asuka squiggles all over the place, mimicking Asuka. And then the bell rang. Nothing happened. The match was just stopped. I don't know if it was a disqualification or a count out or just the ref call. I don't know. The match just kind of ended. They didn't announce a winner. They didn't announce a loser. They didn't announce the results or the referee's decision. They didn't announce anything. Jax just destroyed Asuka, ran straight over her. And then we cut to the back. And Charlie Caruso with Lana. My God, we already talked about this. This was Lana talking about all of the reasons why MVP doesn't want her around. MVP don't want me around because she's too beautiful and she's a distraction. And then Lana talked about how she doesn't want, Lashley doesn't want her at his matches, but she's going to be at MVP's match. And then we had Drew McIntyre defeating MVP in a match that only had 2 minutes. 2 minutes. The main event started with 3 minutes left in the show. So there's no way this was going long. MVP didn't look great. He wasn't made to look impressive. There was nothing happening here. Lana played no part in the finish, which made the entire build that they gave to her actually being part of this match and all of the dramatics between her and MVP throughout the night, no levity and no meaning whatsoever. So it was absolutely useless. Bobby Lashley, when the match was over after Drew McIntyre Claymore kicked MVP back to 2005, Bobby Lashley, the almighty milk dud, hits the ring, locks up Drew McIntyre in the full Nelson, and then the show goes off the air. That's it. Drew McIntyre struggling in the arms of Lashley, and they fade to black at 11 p.m., and that, ladies and gentlemen, is your Monday Night Raw review and reaction show. And I definitely hope you guys stuck with me through this one. It was not an easy show to watch. As we said at the beginning, everything going on in the world today, it's just making everything feel kind of pointless and meaningless. But hopefully, like Raw did for me, I distracted you guys from whatever it is that's just a little bit too heavy for you right now. And unfortunately, we all have to go back to it, because we can't stay distracted forever. But I can't stress enough that I love you all, and I need you guys to be safe and be smart so that you can continue coming here and bringing the hammer down on pro wrestling with me, one stupid show at a time. It's one of the things that I need more than anything else on planet Earth. So please, stay smart, stay safe, but keep the message strong. I love all of you guys. Monday Night Raw, not so much. I don't love it that much. I didn't hate it all that much, but I definitely didn't love it. Not nearly as much as I love you guys. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the team. Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue the Snowball, the most important member of the team as always. Each and every one of you. If I made you laugh, if I made you cry, if I made you understand why Monday Night Raw needed to have the hammer brought down on it, then you, please, hit that subscribe button right now. Hit that thumbs up, and then share this video with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world, especially if they need a place to call home for their wrestling fandom. This is the coolest, newest, fastest rising faction of YouTube wrestling fans on the planet, and I need you to be a part of it. So please consider subscribing and joining the team. I will very much appreciate it. That, my friends, is going to do it. If you missed anything else on the channel, from SmackDown to Money in the Bank and everything in between, it'll all be linked in the annotations up above. That's going to do it. We are out of here, and we will see you next time right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com. Boom.